What's going on, guys? Ted Teskey here with the Recording Connection Audio Institute. Today I'm going to be going over a quick and brief tutorial on how to use the D-Verb plugin that comes with your Pro Tools 11 software. Once you have your session pulled up and you have your track selected, what you're going to do is come up here to Inserts. You're going to come down to Reverb, and you'll notice the D-Verb option. This comes stock with your Pro Tools, so all of you will have it. Once you pull it up, you'll see this interface here. The first thing we have on the left is the gain meter. This allows for us to adjust the impact of the reverb. Today I'm setting up the reverb on an aux track, and I'm trying to add some reverb to the verse. I have one verse track and an instrumental. I basically looped a section of it, and what I'm going to do is play a before and after example of the reverb on the vocals. So pretty much what I need to do is ensure that I have an aux track set up, so I'll show you how to do that in a minute. We also have a couple of presets up here at the top of the insert. We have hall, church, plate, room 1 and 2, ambient, and nonlinear. If you notice when I click on these, the parameters down here as far as pre-delay, decay, high frequency cut, low pass filter, and diffusion, all of those will adjust according to the preset you have selected. Also, you have the option to adjust the room size, small, medium, and large. For this tutorial today, I don't want you to focus too much on the parameters and the controls as far as pre-delay, decay, high frequency cut, low pass filter, or diffusion. I want you to select any preset as far as hall, church, plate. We also have some presets available up here, and get familiar more with just using the gain to adjust the level of the signal, and also your output meter over here to the right. That's going to allow for you to see how heavy your signal's coming in. It's going to allow for you to see the overall output of the signal, so you're going to be able to ensure that it's not too warm or coming in too hot. So the second thing we're going to need to do is set up an aux track. I'm going to take this insert out for right now. I was using it as an example, and I'll come over to my edit window to show you guys what I have going on. I have looped a verse right here, one of my vocal tracks, with the beat, and what I need to do is set up an aux track to ensure that the vocal is running through the reverb. So come back to the mix window here, and what you're going to need to do is create a new track. So once you create a new track, I'm going to make sure that it's mono, since I'm setting the reverb up on a mono vocal track, and I'm going to come down here to aux input. That's going to allow for me to create an aux track. After we create the aux track, the second thing we're going to need to do is tie the verse. We're going to need to connect the verse with the aux track. So what we need to do is send this vocal signal to an available bus. For this example, I'll use bus 1 mono, since it's a mono track, and you'll notice that you have a pop-up fader here when you select the send. For those of you who are unfamiliar, you can hold down Option and click with your mouse, and what that's going to do is bring your fader up to 0, which is unity gain. I always like to start at unity gain just to see how heavy the signal is and how it sounds, and then maybe take it down. Basically what this fader does is it adjusts the level of the reverb signal. So when you're sending the vocal through the track, the higher this fader is, the higher up it is, the more dB that it has, the more that the reverb's going to affect the vocals. So you can mess with that accordingly. I always like to start with it right about 0. And what we need to do is set up the input on the aux track to be the same on the same bus as the send on the vocal track. Okay, so we're going to come over here to bus 1, and now we have our verse set up with our aux track. So what I'll do now is set up my reverb like I showed you guys at the beginning of the tutorial. Come up here to Inserts on the aux track. You'll come down to Reverb and select D-Verb. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide over to the edit window, and I'm going to play an example with the reverb on bypass, and then I'm going to play the loop again with the reverb on, so you guys can hear how the reverb affects my vocals. And I will adjust the fader here up and down so you guys can hear the reverb at a higher level, and then you can hear it a little bit lower. So let's put this reverb on bypass, and let's play a couple seconds of this verse and this instrumental I have set up right now. It has a compressor on it. I added a simple compressor on it. So basically it has no reverb or nothing on it right now. So here we go.
American conspiracy, most of us are mindless. Columbine High School, that's a day in history. Freshman year in high school, it was early fall. It was 9 a.m., I watched the Twin Towers fall. Ever since that day I felt
So basically what we have there is one vocal. I haven't added any backs to it. I haven't added any other vocals to the song. So what we have is one vocal. So that was without the reverb. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the reverb off of bypass here, and I'm going to go ahead and play it again, and you guys are going to be able to hear the reverb stand out a little bit. It's going to bring the vocals out, add some ambience, add some clarity. It's going to pretty much bring some life to the song. You'll be able to hear the vocals sound like they're in a bigger room and sit better within the mix. So here we go.
American conspiracy, most of us are mindless. Columbine High School, that's a day in history. Freshman year in high school, it was early fall. It was 9 a.m., I watched the Twin Towers fall. Ever since that day, I felt I'd never be the same. Rest in peace to everyone we lost on that day. The soldiers in Iraq that had to feel the pain. For every parent grieving that'll never live again. May God bless your soul, and never know when your time is up. You'll never know when you go.
So as you could see, when I was taking this fader up, the reverb was coming out more. It was making the vocals sound like they were wider, like they had a lot more clarity, and it sounded like they were bigger than they were. As I brought it down, it brought the vocals in a little bit. It still had reverb, but from my perspective, when it was down here at about -5.5 is where I was getting the best sound. It actually made my vocals sound better within the mix. So again, I just wanted to show you guys how to set up an aux track and set up the reverb, and hopefully this gave you enough understanding where you can apply it to one of your own sessions. So again, my name is Ted Teskey. I'm an audio engineer with the Recording Connection Audio Institute, and thanks a lot for tuning in on this short tutorial on how to use the D-Verb plugin. You guys have a great day.